And we are live. Welcome, mystery and thriller fans. I'm your on-air host and author, Sara DiVello, and I am so excited to welcome tonight lawyer turned thriller author Caroline Cleveland, here to give us the inside scoop on her brand new book out next Tuesday, When Cicadas Cry. Caroline, welcome to Mystery and Thriller Mavens. Tell us about this book.
Thank you. Well, When Cicadas Cry is a legal thriller with a Southern Gothic flair. It's set in Walterboro, South Carolina, where I happen to grow up, and nearby Edisto Beach, which is a quiet residential beach. It takes place in 2017 in the aftermath of the Mother Emanuel Church massacre and also the local police shooting of a unarmed black suspect, Walter Scott. And it basically has sort of three components: a high-profile, racially charged murder case, a haunting cold case from the 80s, and a killer who's watching very closely. The book opens with a murder in a church. A white woman is bludgeoned to death with an altar cross. A young black man is found kneeling over her, covered in blood and fresh scratches on his arms, insists that he is innocent. And of course, our protagonist takes the case. And as Zach Stander, our protagonist, is working his case, his girlfriend, perpetual fiance, investigator, is working a cold case on nearby Edisto Beach. And as they start their investigations, and as these two stories converge, we start to see some inconsistencies, and they start to wonder if perhaps there are some connections between these two cases, despite their 34-year-old separation. As it goes along, they start to figure out that somebody in this small town is hiding some very old, very dark secrets. But what they haven't figured out, but what the reader knows, is that the killer has infiltrated their inner circle and is watching and knows what's going on. And the reader knows this because the killer speaks in scattered first-person anonymous chapters, telling the reader these little sidebars about what's going on, but the other characters cannot hear.
Yes, indeed. So I was reading that first person inside the killer's viewpoint, not knowing whose viewpoint I was in. And let me tell you, the revelation of who it is was a twist I did not see coming.
Good. That was my job.
Well, I can't wait to get into every delicious detail of it. But first, I just want to welcome everyone, because we are broadcasting live to 7 different destinations across Facebook and YouTube. So mystery and thriller loving friends, no matter where you're watching from, you're in the right place. This is the right time. It is Mystery Monday. And because Mondays can be murder, we're going to start. So if you've been here before, you know the drill. And if you're new, welcome, friends. We're so happy to have you. Here's the drill. Every Monday, I give you my handpicked featured authors. You get to ask them anything. So ask Miss Caroline Cleveland about her real life law experience. She's writing about a lawyer. She is a lawyer. She also used to work in law enforcement, and we got to talk about all that praise. So we got a lot to talk about. Get the questions going in the comments. I'll get them right over to her. Sharon Bishop joining us from YouTube, saying howdy girls from Massachusetts. Howdy, Sharon.
Hey, Sharon.
Sharon's been with me, a member of the Mavens community, for years now, and I just got to meet her in person when I hosted Lisa Unger's launch right up here in Massachusetts. So Sharon gave me a pink pen that I love and keep right on my desk. Hi, Sharon. Renee is joining us from Facebook in Southeast Florida. She says, hi, I'm sorry, can't stay. I'm at my aunt's 88th birthday party with her. Will you tell her to have a good and not murderous birthday?
That's a big number.
Keep the knife only on the cake, Renee. That's limited to the cake. Have a slice for me. But before she goes, Renee has a question for you, Caroline. She wants to know, how did you come up with this title? Yeah, tell us about the cicadas, because they play a big part here.
Okay, we had a buffer there. I'm sorry. Actually, that wasn't my working title. My working title was On Cicada Road. And one of my fabulous editors was working on it, said, I love cicada. That has the flavor of the book, but your title doesn't quite carry the aura of the book. So we did a lot of brainstorming, and that's what we came up with. And I love it.
And so you actually opened the book telling everybody a little bit about cicadas, which I actually love so much. I read twice. So tell us about cicadas.
Well, most cicadas come out once a year. They live underground, burrow, and then they come out and scream a lot and mate and die. But there are something called periodic cicadas, also called magic cicadas, and they come out either every 17 years or every 13 years. And this year, 2 of the really big broods, brood 19 and I think maybe 13, that come out one every 17 years and one every 13 are coming out at the same time. Those two broods have not emerged simultaneously since Thomas Jefferson was in the White House. So we're going to have a little bit of cicada palooza this spring, and they're coming out about the same time my book does. So I think it's a welcoming party.
Oh my goodness. So wait, is that how you thought of this first, the original working title and then the original title? You just knew that this crazy, unseen since Thomas Edison, once in a lifetime occurrence was happening, or what?
No, it was just, like I said, it was meant to be. I didn't know when the book would be finished. I didn't know when it would be published. I sure didn't know these two broods were coming out together. It just kind of all came together, and I kind of feel like it's a little bit of a sign.
Oh my goodness, it is a sign. It is a sign. Wow. Yeah, because now I'm going to be listening for them, knowing that not since Thomas Edison's ears have we heard these screeches. Thomas Jefferson. I'm staring into the light and I'm thinking bulbs, Edison, as I'm blinded by my ring light. Oh my goodness.
Somebody's put up a tag that says cicadas are predatory and merciless bugs. That's great for this book.
Exactly. Kicking off your predatory and merciless killer. Now, Caroline, tell us why you wanted to start with the killer's point of view and why you wanted to write about the killer in first person. So let's take the first part first. Why did you want to put the killer in here, and why did you want to start with the killer?
I wanted to start with the killer because I think the story starts with the killer. I mean, that's sort of the genesis of where everything goes. But, I think your hero can only be as great as your villain is. So it's hard to think of a killer as having human aspects. And I thought if we could hear from this killer and see some human there, it might make it even scarier that this killer did what this killer did do. Also, I had this big span of time, 34 years, from 2017 back to 83. So I was struggling with how my current day characters would tell the story of this old murder. And I thought, we could use witness statements, we could use police reports, but that felt wooden. And I wanted something alive and feeling and moving. So that's why I let the killer talk a little bit.
Ooh, I like that. And I hadn't heard that expression, your hero is only as good as your villain. I like that. Tell us more what you mean by that.
If you want your hero to be great and to conquer these great challenges, well, he's got to conquer something great, something equally mighty, something formidable, something that's something that I didn't make it up. That I learned that from Paula Monnier. She teaches a lot of writing craft classes, and I went to one in New York, and that was one of the things that she said, and it just stuck with me. That too often you try to diminish the villain, but if you want your hero to overcome great obstacles, you got to give him great obstacles to overcome, and part of that's a great villain.
Ooh, interesting. I like that. And in a interesting full circle twist, I think that Paula Mounier is Hank Phillippi Ryan's agent, right? So this is sort of a full...
They have yeah, I think so. Yes.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, I love that. And Hank Phillippi Ryan had some wonderful words of praise for your book. Let's take a peek at that. I'm going to pop them up so we can all read them together. And here it is. Hank Phillippi Ryan had said, John Grisham meets Harper Lee in this immersive, thought-provoking Southern legal thriller. Caroline Cleveland's talented storytelling propels this realistic tale of secrets and history, combined with the power of contemporary passion and prejudice. The setting is authentic, the characters are relatable, and the story propulsive and engaging. Standing ovation for this brilliant debut. Congratulations on that rave review, Caroline.
Oh, well, first I just went and swooned. You're right. That was like a dream day. That was wonderful. I met Hank at the Writers Police Academy two summers ago. She was the keynote speaker, and I'm a little newbie nobody. And Hank is just the most generous person in the world and very kind, and remembered me. And we had talked several times, and she was so busy getting out her own new book, which is One Wrong Word, just came out in January. And it was very sweet of her to take the time to stop and read my book and give me a blurb.
Well, I just think that John Grisham meets Harper Lee. You just get it. You immediately, what it just hones right in on the heart of the book. Tina, welcome to the conversation. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
That's our current murder case. Yeah.
Yeah.
The new case.
Yeah. Tina joining us from Facebook saying, how fitting that the cicadas return this summer. I know, Tina, it's like meant to be, because otherwise it would have been another 200 years. All right, Caroline. Not even I am going to take that long to write a book. Oh my goodness. We have John joining us from Northeast Ohio. John, welcome to the conversation. Thanks for tuning in. So Caroline, you are a lawyer and in real life, and you're writing about a lawyer. How was that for you? Did Zach ever want to do something? You're like, no, Zach, I got to rein you in, buddy. Or were you, or is Zach the male you?
Well, Zach is a criminal lawyer and I'm strictly civil, but I'm really fortunate. I've been practicing a little over 30 years and here in this same market. So I have a lot of friends and clients, and I represent a lot of law enforcement agencies as well. So I had a lot of people who could chime in and help me, and many of them sat down and spent hours and hours helping me read my book and make sure I had the little details right. But criminal law was something I didn't know anything about, and was so surprised to find out parts of it. That in civil law, if you sue my client, I had this very detailed discovery process. I can find out anything about your life pretty much. But in criminal law, unless you ask for, you being the suspect, the defendant, nobody gets anything other than basic nuts and bolts. And this is with somebody's life on the line. So that was kind of surprising to me.
So did after writing this, do you think maybe you'll segue on over to criminal law like Zach Stander, or are you going to stick where you are in employment?
I think between the law that I know and writing books, I've got enough to do without trying to take over a new world.
Oh my gosh, I love it. Let's take a peek at some of this other praise that your book has earned. So John McMahon, author of The Good Detective, had this to say. I'm going to pop it up so we can all read it together. He calls your book a twisty narrative of secrets and lies. I flew through When Cicadas Cry in a day, a haunted case from the past, a racially tinged murder in the present, and a small South Carolina town about to erupt like a powder keg. Equal parts courtroom thriller and a gripping mystery. Congratulations on that rave review as well.
Also very kind.
Yay. So Caroline, what have you learned from writing your first book? Are you that you will apply to writing your next one, assuming you will write a next one? Oh, your light came on.
Yes, it did. I'm not sure why that happens that way, but it just
maybe
does.
You have a ghost. We don't know.
Let's hope. Well, this building is several hundred years old, so there's probably a group of ghosts around here somewhere.
Definitely.
You know, you learn something with every page, and you learn something with every mistake. I'm working on a couple of things now. One is a psychological thriller, and another could be a potential sequel to this book. So I'm kind of, you learn. I mean, it's just so hard. I was so green about the publishing process just in general. Every step of the way, I've either been calling an agent or an editor going, what is this thing? Why does it work this way? I think they've been very patient with me. I'm impressed with their patience.
Tell us about your path to publication. Have you always wanted to be a writer, and you just got, sucked into your legal career for 30 years, or was this something that came to you 30 years in?
It was the latter. I love practicing law. I hear all the time lawyers saying that, they didn't like this career and they looked for another one. And I'm lucky, I guess. I love what I do. I have so many clients that have been my clients for 20 or 30 years. So they've become friends. I know things about them. I consider them confidants and friends, and appreciate it so much. But about 2014, I guess, was when I first started thinking, I read a lot, and I thought, I could do this. So I just sat down one day at a computer and started writing, and I wrote a book. And you know what? I couldn't do it. It sucked. I'm sorry. But anyway, I started taking a few classes and kind of thinking it through and learning a little bit more about the craft. And so I tried again. And the second book got me an agent and a publisher. And they told me, well, they liked that book, but they kind of wanted to know, since I do other things, am I going to write any more? And could I show them what I'm working on? I showed them 40 pages of this book. And my agent called back, and that's all that was written. My agent called back, and she's, all excited and talking about, they bought the book. And then I realized about 4 sentences in that she's talking about this book. And I said, Marley, that book isn't written. And she's like, oh, it's okay. You have 4 months. I wrote this book after the first 40 pages. I wrote this book in 4 months. So that was kind of crazy.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Laurel, welcome to the conversation, saying, what a breath of fresh air Caroline is. So candid and honest. Right, Laurel? I really appreciate having honest, transparency and openness about the publishing process, because I think a lot of times that gets glossed over, or we feel like we shouldn't talk about it or whatever. And it's like, hey, this book did not hatch from an egg. It was a process to get here. Let's talk about that process. Thank you for saying that. Robin is saying that that your clients would become your friends, saying we're friends for life because you know too much.
Yeah. Well, some of them, yes.
Yeah.
Neighboring nations with nuclear arms. Nobody's going to shoot first.
Don't know too much, Caroline, because we know what happens from our murder victim, Jesse.
That's right.
You know too much. Oh my goodness. So let's talk about, Robin joining us from Facebook saying, hello, Sarah and Caroline. Sorry, I'm late. You're not late. You're right on time. So Caroline, you, why did you write the murderer in the first person, and Zach not in first person, instead of Zach, our protagonist in the first person, and the murderer in the third, more distanced? Tell us about that.
When I've tried to write in the first person, most often I find out that if I do it backwards, I get a bigger world in third person. I mean, if a bird flies over, but my character doesn't happen to look up to see it, in first person, that bird's gone. In third person, we can see the bird. So I just find it easier to give a good descriptive picture and a better sense of place with third person. But with the killer, number one, the killer's hiding a secret. So I needed the killer to be able to control what we heard. So that's part of why there was, and you could only get the killer's point of view. So you might not get the same picture if you were watching the killer.
But did it occur to you to not include the killer as a POV, just to be, in Zach hunting the killer, like this,
I tried, but
Strickland or another one of the,
I couldn't find a way to make 1983 real, or current. And so I kept trying to get somebody. I needed somebody who was there, and the only person who was there is our killer. So and as I'm trying to figure it out, sometimes my characters talk in my head. I hear other writers say that too. It's true, but it's the killer kind of talking in my head. And I said, well, I need you to come do this in the book. And it's like, oh, never mind. That's exactly what we'll do. I'll let you come do this in the book. You tell your story.
Should we be worried about you that killer POV just came so easily to you, Caroline? You're just writing naturally in the first person of the killer?
Probably.
Yeah, I feel like I am. Oh my goodness. Erica is joining us from Mexico saying, hola, hola, Erica. Welcome to the conversation. Thanks so much for tuning in from YouTube. Y'all, the book is not even out yet. It drops next Tuesday. Caroline Cleveland is coming on to give us the inside scoop and spill the tea on When Cicadas Cry. Here is the link to order from our favorite woman-owned independent bookstore in Houston, Texas. That is, of course, Murder by the Book. So whether you're watching with us on Facebook or YouTube, here is that link to click and pre-order When Cicadas Cry, which drops next Tuesday. And the good folks at Murder by the Book will ship it out to you then. I'm hearing a little ghost noise there, Caroline. I want to talk about this fabulous review from Garden and Gun, saying Cleveland weaves all of these elements: the good old boys, the Spanish moss, the quirky beach dwellers, the faux friendly neighbors, and the small town preachers into her murder mystery in a way that will have many low country readers mumbling, "Oh, I know that place." Laurel's saying the noise we're hearing is the killer coming through. Indeed. We need to keep our eye on Caroline there, because it sounds like the killer is going to come through the wall at any moment. Oh my gosh, Caroline, tell us, for those who don't live in South Carolina, what the heck is the Low Country?
Well, and I loved that Garden Gun quote and how broad they made the picture. I think so often the Southern setting gets marginalized to sweet tea and hey y'all, and it's much more complex than that. And we have this beautiful landscape with all these big grand trees and marshes and a lot of history here. But at the same time, the history here is harsh. It's not particularly beautiful. And I think that juxtaposition makes the South such a fascination to most of the world. Those conflicting things. I actually have a word for it. I call it Charmageddon, because it's we've got the Southern charm, but there's some evil lurking underneath there. So it's sort of a phenomenon. If you look at, back to Flannery O'Connor, who I think is just the master of it. How she writes it and shows it, all the way to Grisham is also clearly a master of writing the South. He tells Southerners like you're taking a photograph. It's truly a gift. And there are a lot of other masterful lawyers who do it well too. But that I wanted to show that bigger, more complex place. That's where I've lived all my life.
I love that. And I think we're seeing a nice resurgence, a resurgence, or perhaps an emergence of Southern noir as a genre. Sean Cosby on the forefront of that as well. Sean writes the South so viscerally, and so, you can just taste it, smell it, hear it, feel it. And
some girls like Karen Slaughter, the Girl Nation. We're getting some ladies into the game. Amen.
So, and Karen Slaughter definitely captures the South very, very well. Robin saying weird noises during interviews is part of the charm. Exactly. If we see a ghost, our day will be complete. So we'll just see some.
Let me see what I can do.
Floating by. Laura wants to know, is Grisham one of your favorites to read? You mentioned that you love to read. Tell us about that.
I do love Grisham. Like I said, his short story collection, Ford County, mine looks like it's been through a shredder. I just, the pages have been bent back from reading it. But every one of those books, I feel like he's stumbled over my high school yearbook, and all these characters carrying on. I do feel like he's painted them very well. He is one of my favorites. I also like Michael Conley. The ladies that are coming into this, Karen Slaughter, we just mentioned, Mary Kubica. I love to read her stuff. Sherry Lapina. There are just so many. I read a lot.
Wanda Morris is another Southern writer. She really captures the flavor of the South as well. Laurel, thank you for the great question. Sharon wants to know, did you get to pick the title of the book?
I helped. I had started with a different title, and then it included cicadas. I started with the title On Cicada Road, and we were afraid that was too generic. So we did a lot of brainstorming. We wanted the name Cicada to stay in, and this is where we landed.
Do you remember any of the other ones that didn't make it, Caroline?
Other than my working title, no, I don't. Sorry.
Oh my gosh. Readers Gotta Read, joining us from YouTube. Howdy, ma'am. Nice to see you as always. Thanks so much for tuning in. Randy joining us from Facebook as well says, S.A. Cosme gets my vote. Oh, Sean is so brilliant and talented. I look forward to seeing him at Thriller Fest. He'll be coming back again as well.
Great cat.
What's that?
Great cat.
Oh my God. I know. Isn't that so on brand? Randy tunes in every week. And his little black cat is she's like our emblem. that's our team spirit, or I can't think of the word. Our motto, not our motto. Our the character that
mascot.
Yeah. Mascot. Thank you. Not emblem.
She looks like she's seen a ghost.
I think she is. We need to put a little witch hat on her. We did that. That'll be our mascot. Robin says, I grew up in the South and we called them locusts. Are locusts I didn't know I thought those were two different bugs. Are they the same?
They are different, but they're similar. They swarm and they will just eat the trees and plants, slap up. So yeah.
Right. Because they were one of the 7 plagues, so we're talking terrifying, predatory, fear and terror here. Oh my goodness. Readers Gotta Read says, I have cicadas all over my house right now in South Carolina. Oh, your fellow South Carolinian there, Miss Cleveland. We were just talking about this, about how the kind of cicadas that Caroline's talking about haven't come out since Thomas Jefferson, and it's going to be another 200 years before they come back. So we have this one.
Well, they haven't come out at the same time since.
Oh, the same time, converging together, to create murder and mayhem. I love it.
That's right.
Okay, guys, we have 5 minutes left. I think I can fit in 2 or 3 more questions, so I will pick those right now. Meanwhile, I did want to mention again that the book drops next Tuesday. So here again is the link to pre-order from our favorite woman-owned independent bookstore. That is, of course, Murder by the Book. So whether you are watching with us tonight on Facebook or YouTube, here is that link. You can click and pre-order and support woman-owned independent bookstores right here, dedicated to murder, mystery, and mayhem. We had some questions submitted in advance, Caroline, so I want to get to that. Amy would like, okay, I'll get to, Laurel has one, then I'll get to Amy's. Okay, Laurel says, while not being a criminal lawyer, do you draw your subjects from those you have worked with? Ooh.
Well, from my law enforcement clients, they tell me a lot of stories that, yes, I do end up drawing from those stories, yes.
Amy would like to know, she was reading that she read the preview, and she'd like you to talk about the character of Addie.
Addie is a strong character with a solid sense of self. She knows who she is. She knows what she wants. She was a former law enforcement officer, so she has a lot of training in the field. She was really good at it. She actually had graduated at the top of her class and was, had a good career, but she did not like the political aspect of the bullshit you have to go through when you are working for an elected official. And so she sort of dropped out of that aspect and went into a private investigation because she felt like she could accomplish more and do more. She holds Zach up and keeps him accountable.
They have a really lovely relationship because she's sassy, but she's also very nurturing.
She's sure of herself. She came from this big, large family, and she's always had people telling her, you can do this. And so she believes she can. Zach's just the opposite. Zach came from, his father abandoned them. His mother died young, and he's kind of been out on his own, and he's more quick to question himself.
Plus, he's coming off of a bit of a scandal from his last client.
Yes, stepped in a big pile of mess.
A big pile of mess.
A big pile of trouble.
Laurel saying, fabulous. What a neat pool of special knowledge. Absolutely. Randy saying the 2 different types of cicadas are supposed to meet up near Chicago later. Oh my goodness.
He's right. That's going to be like the one overlap place in the United States. You're going to get just eaten up, pal.
Oh, wait, I didn't know they were only overlapping there. Okay. Yikes. And then we had another question from Alan, and he says he is a lawyer too. He wants to know any advice for writing your first book.
Oh man, time management. If you are in a practice as busy as I am and trying to do something that takes as much time as writing a book, just kind of figure out how to manage your time, because both of those things take a lot of time and a lot of focus. You're not supposed to be doing something else when you're doing either one of them. And so the best I can tell you is try to carve out time for yourself. But we all need that, no matter what it is, whether it's reading or writing. Make time for yourself, buddy.
Because when you were saying that they only gave you 4 months to write the book, I was thinking, but you didn't have 4 months off from your day job as a lawyer. So lawyers can work very long hours, and then you going home and writing until 1, 2 in the morning, or are you getting up?
And all weekends and while I'm eating lunch. And fortunately, we had Thanksgiving and Christmas. We don't have big families, so I had a little bit of time in the middle. And just my bless his heart, my husband is so supportive. I don't know what I would have done. He did a lot of stuff I was supposed to be doing so that I could be doing this.
Caroline brings her computer to the Christmas dinner table. She's like, I will be having 4,000 words for my Christmas pudding dinner. My Christmas pudding dessert. That is hilarious. Y'all, we are almost out of time. Thank you so much for spending your mystery money with us. Here again, one more time, is the link to pre-order your favorite new legal thriller from our favorite woman-owned independent bookstore. Get your mitts on When Cicadas Cry. You can pre-order it tonight, and the good folks at Murder by the Book will ship it out to you when the book drops next Tuesday morning. Caroline, tell us how you're celebrating your pub day next week.
I'm going to be celebrating it with about 150 friends who are coming to a launch party. And thank y'all for coming tonight. I looked at your website and you have people like Dean Koontz and Karen Slaughter, and that y'all took the night to talk to a little debut nobody author. I am so excited. So thank you.
Oh, Caroline, we're a little community here. We've been together for 4 years, some of us, and I always say my goal here is to connect readers to their favorite writers and introduce them to their next favorite writers. So
Can't wait. Thank you.
welcome to the community. And for anyone who's coming to Thriller Fest in New York, May 28th through June 1st, Caroline Cleveland will be there as well.
We'll be there selling books.
She'll be there selling and signing books. So your chance to get
right.
yourself personalized. I will be there with her as well. So if you can't make it to New York, just shoot me or Caroline a DM on Instagram with a screenshot of your receipt for Murder by the Book. And Caroline, you can drop a bookmark or a signed book plate.
You got it. You got it.
Okay, and have her write something scandalous, because lawyer reader confidentiality. That's a thing, I think.
We will make it a thing.
We'll make it a thing. All right, y'all, that is a wrap for us on this Mystery Monday. I hope the days and the pages fly by. Stay well, and I will see you next Monday. Have a killer week until then.
Good night, everybody.